Morning, everyone. So thank you so much for coming through, and again, Charles and Tabu and the BigFive team for the opportunity of just coming and having a conversation with you guys. My name is Denvor Daniels. I head up the digital advertising business at MTN South Africa. As you know, MTN, quite a large organization. South Africa is one of the opcos. There are in total 17 opcos, operating companies in the MTN group across the African footprint. We were in quite a lot of the, shall we say, Iran-type markets. We've now exited out of quite a few of those and really focusing on becoming an African business driving African innovation on the continent, and that's really, really exciting for us. So as such, I started in the business about 4 years ago, started a little business called MTN Ads, and really what it is that we've looked at new opportunities within the telecommunications space about how do we unlock value for the MTN subscribers. There are 290 million MTN subscribers across the African continent, of which there are 26 million in South Africa that we have of the population. So you have about 30% market share, and so you've got quite a large audience, and people at the end of the day want value. At MTN, we believe that every South African should have the benefit of a modern connected life, and for that, we build products and services, and that's really what I do. So very passionate about the business. We've gone, like I said, we've been going for about 4 years, and it's something that I'm really, really excited about. So today, something that I'm really excited about as well is the power, I think, of relevance and kind of just getting an idea of how do you actually engage with the right customers, and how do you do that in an age where privacy and POPI and GDPR is becoming more and more, rightfully, it is becoming more and more prevalent, and how do you build out solutions for a publisher ecosystem? Bearing in mind, publishers are really struggling. I think the OTTs have come in. When I say OTTs, I do mean the companies from California have come in and really damaged the publishing ecosystem in South Africa. And I think what we've done is we've built a solution and something that I'm very passionate about that actually offers value back to the publishers and creates value to brands. And we believe that the telco can be pivotal in that. So I'm just quickly going to be touching on that. Open to any questions. Do feel free to stop me at any time. This is not a monologue. Please, I love for this to be a dialogue. Stop me, ask difficult questions. I hope that I can answer them. If I don't, well, then you've stumped me and I can buy you a coffee. So that's great. So, shall we go to the next slide? Brilliant. So effectively, what we realized is going into the publishing ecosystem, there is such a big gap in terms of understanding who the customers are. There's so many different sources of information out there, and if you're looking at what Facebooks and the Googles, Instagrams and all the other big OTT platforms are doing, they are collecting insights based on your behavior. So it's all behavioral information. And they then draw an assumption on who it is that you are based on some of the interactions. Now, there is some truth in that. I mean, as an example, if you look at how many people post pictures of their food on Instagram, I have no idea why, but it's a thing. And so we know what you like. Thank you. I know what you had for dinner, and it's really interesting, but, you know. But for us, it's a little bit deeper than that. For us, it's about creating or looking at how do we create a single source of identification for a customer, not only on a network, but off a network and in a publisher ecosystem as well. So for us, it's how does a telco have the ability to be more central in the communication and the engagement of brands with customers and driving value back and forth? So I always have the question that I ask every single person here, and I'm going to test it again, and normally it does ring true. Who drives a really nice car? Like a BMW, Mercedes, an Audi, a Volvo, a Jaguar Turbo, if I'm not mistaken. But everyone drives a really nice car, right? If you have one. It's quite precious, and it's something that you've invested a lot in, and it's something that says a little bit about who you are and what you've achieved in your life. If given the option of me saying to you, can I have your car for a day, or can I have your phone for a day? What would you say? 100% of people say car. The reason for that is, based on yesterday's conversation, and based on everything that I listened to yesterday, as well as information that we have on the network, your life literally is now on your device. First thing you check in the morning, the last thing you check at night. We transact, we chat, we commute, we commerce, we interact, we buy movie tickets, we take our spouses out on dates, and everything happens on our devices. Which means that from a telco perspective, there's an opportunity to do something really interesting. There's an opportunity to actually create a lovely 360 view of who the consumer actually is and what it is that they are doing on a daily basis. And doing it in a way that is safe, compliant, and actually offering that as a solution to the broader advertising space, so you can actually go to agencies and brands and say, we know who these customers are. We actually have factual information about who these people are, what their mobile numbers are, where they are during the day, where they are at night. It gets a little bit scary, I do understand that, but there's actual real information that you can take to customers and take to brands and go, we have this value. There's so many use cases. We've looked at e-commerce use cases. We've looked at collaborating with out-of-home billboard companies. So one of the use cases we've just completed was, let's go to one of the big out-of-home billboard companies and say, we have an opted-in base of 10 million customers. Let's plot those mobile numbers, or MSIs, the ends as we call them, against where your physical billboard locations are, because we know people are driving on this particular highway. And the biggest issue with billboard advertising, as my agency friends would know, is it's not measurable. It's a guesstimate at best. You estimate based on reports how many cars are going past there, how many people are seeing those billboards. Just as an indication, I drive from Pretoria to Roodepoort a couple of times a week. I drive past many, many billboards. I actually have banner blindness. If you ask me now what billboard is on the N1 just before the Vodacom building, I probably won't be able to tell you, because I've seen it so many times. You literally block it out. But if we have a solution that can go where we can go to brands and say, guys, we have an opportunity for you to actually know, because we translate what's on the billboard onto your device. And then it becomes powerful. So those are the ways that we've taken the business that we've built from an advertising perspective and made it relevant across multiple different industries. This slide is quite interesting for me because everyone here knows the challenge that the ad tech ecosystem has been suffering from has really, really been around just privacy, around all of the work that's been happening around that. These are just some of the high-level articles that I've pulled out, and it is quite scary if you're looking at things like data infringements that have happened. Just this morning, I saw an article that SAA got hacked. So that's quite scary. Like they're literally their booking system's down. So these things are happening right now, every single day. And I think if you have a way of creating an ecosystem that is safe, that is really built around the standard of knowing exactly who the customer is, it creates a little bit more credibility, safety, and actually better engagement. So, privacy-first approaches has created significant changes in ad tech. So as an example, 50 to 60% of addressable audiences have been removed. So basically, we've heard about this thing where Google says the cookie is going to go, and then it's not going, and then it is going, and then it's not going. And I think it's not going at the moment. It's not going. It's not going? It's not going. Okay. Here's the problem with that. I have 2 kids. So when you say to them, I'm going to take you to the movies. No, we're not going to go. No, but I promise next week we'll go. Yeah, but we're not going to go. What does that create? A huge distrust. It erodes the trust and the confidence in an ecosystem that has been created foundational in terms of advertising, yes, it is, but the challenge is that it takes away a lot of the trust and the confidence out of the ecosystem. And so effectively, brands are looking to actually build first-party databases. They need to build a way for them to actually engage with their customers on a day-to-day basis and have permission to do so. One of the things we've done in the last couple of months, we've worked with FMCGs, and they basically said to us, please help us build our first-party base because we need to be able to speak to these customers ourselves. We can no longer rely on OTT platforms that's running media in the hopes that, number one, we're speaking to the right customer, number two, they're actually going to respond, and number three, that the offer is actually valuable and actually relevant to them. There is zero confidence in the system anymore, which means these stats are only going to get worse. How big is ad fraud? Does anybody know ad fraud? It's huge. It's billions and billions and billions of dollars every single year that gets lost to a bot or a non-human entity actually engaging with an ad. People say AI is fantastic. I do believe that it is, but AI is stealing billions of advertising dollars every year because the actual code is interacting with an ad, making it seem like a human is actually viewing an ad when it's not. And happily, we're buying and we're buying and we're buying and we're bidding on advertising, but actually it's not a real person on the other side of that. Which brings me back to my question around your mobile phone. You would never share your personal device with anyone else. It's your phone. Doesn't matter if you have 4 of them, it's still yours. Which means from a telco perspective, we have the ability to be central in the ecosystem because we know this device is Denvor's phone. And on this phone, Denvor interacts. And on that device, anything that he does, you know that you're speaking to a real person. It's not a shared computer in a home that may or may not have a virus, that has AI because someone downloaded a really fancy game, and now there's an ad because Absa or Investec or any other bank thinks that they can sell you a credit card, but in actual fact, they're speaking to a chatbot or a piece of code. It's an actual person on the other end of this. So the solution really creates the challenge, and it solves for this challenge. So personalization remains a big thing. Like I said, a bit of a challenge in terms of the scale. So PI information, there isn't really a lot of privacy. The accuracy of the data is always going to be a bit of a challenge. And then I think the scale is the one thing. So, like I said earlier, so many ghost users. I think I did a little bit of research, and I just wanted to see how many fake Facebook profiles there are. Anybody want to? It's a lot. Anybody want to guess? It's significant. As a percentage, it's probably closer to 30% of Facebook profiles are not real people. It's not a real person. So what are we basing our advertising spend on? It's always a big question. It's never fun having these kinds of conversations when you're sitting across from a CMO and they've got to plan their media spend. And this is one of the things that we really are trying to build as a solution. So telcos know who their subscribers are and they trust it. Telcos sit at the heart of every digital transactions. And I think with telcos, we can deliver a scaled ID solution that can really drive value back to brands. So I mentioned one of the things that is really interesting, scale, it's interoperable. It really doesn't depend only on a user being on the telco network. It's any user that interacts on any app on their phone, whether you're going to News24 or Cars or AutoTrader or Airbnb, anything like that. Those are all signals coming back, and we were able to kind of build a profile of who you really are based on the interaction of your device. And that translates on network, on your actual device, as well as off the actual network, because those are apps that are not part of the MTN network or telco network, as an example. Safe and privacy. Privacy is absolutely key. Anyone that's ever worked in a telco will tell you we are probably one of the most regulated in businesses. Banks are also incredibly focus, but I think telco, we over-regulate ourselves because of the risk of data breaches and also what that means in terms of things like the actual share value of a business. If there's a data breach, there is a significant impact on the actual bottom line of the business. So we over-regulate ourselves when it comes to the business, when it comes to data privacy. So just to give you an example of two of the solutions that we built, we have this one thing called the MTN Addressable Audience, which basically gives us secure first-party deterministic audiences. So basically we have this entire set of pool of data and insights that creates rich data and insights for whoever wants to interact with us. A brand will come and say, I'm looking to run this kind of campaign and I need to find this particular audience and this is what I'm trying to achieve. That is what we have. We literally have that as a physical ID for every single MTN customer. So as an example, for me, there's an ID. It could be MTN 12345. That's my ID on the MTN network. So everything that I do on my device and everything that is achieved, that I actually interact with, is linked back in some way in a data lake back to MTN 12345. So we create this lovely picture of who you are as a customer. I know it gets a little bit scary, guys, but please bear with me. It does get very close to kind of Minority Report kind of things. And then the user recognition basically is a really, really interesting tool because what that does now, it actually allows us to create that 360 view of a customer where we actually work with publishers in the broader ecosystem. And we've integrated probably 4 of the big publishing houses already, where we create this view and actually enhance their data of customers that are browsing. So of the 26 million customers, how many of those are actually browsing a News24 as an example? And how often do they go there? And what do they do when they go there? And what kind of articles and insights are they really interested in? And that becomes powerful because now the dependency on things like what Google Analytics and social media and Instagram is doing, that lessens that dependency from a publisher perspective, as well as creates additional publisher revenue because now they don't have to be so dependent just on performance buying. They can start selling insights. And that really is based on the work that we're busy doing with them. So I'm really running out of time. I've got about 8 minutes left or something like that. So again, what the technology allows us to do. So, and I think I've touched on all of these so I can actually go past them, but really, really interesting for us is we're going to start creating audiences based on different kind of segments and behavioral intent. People that are interested in travel, people that are interested in pets, et cetera, you name it. The signals that come back from the actual system will allow you to actually start doing that. And remember, there's this old philosophy in the way that brands and agencies think, that they think, this is my customer. No, you're not. You're not an insurance company customer. You're not a telco customer. You are also a customer of every other business that you interact with. No single business owns a customer. I'm not just my bank's customer, I'm also a customer because I go shop at Checkers, and then I go shop at ShopRite, and then I go to Woolies, and then I go and interact with a myriad of other brands, and I'm their customer as well. So the same person is a complex, dynamic individual that has a complex and dynamic life. It's not a linear relationship one-to-one to a brand. And I think that's the thing that we're trying to solve for, is that a person is a complex individual that has a life outside of what you interact with as a brand to them. These are just some of the partners that has actually used the same solution and seen absolutely phenomenal results. We've started interacting with them, and for us it's about how do we build these partnerships out, and what does that actually mean, and how does that drive value back to the MTN customer base. So I've just gone through this very quickly. This is a little bit more detail in terms of actually what it means. Like, what is an addressable audience? And people look at the name and they go, but what does that mean? So effectively, it really is, we have the ability to actually do better scale, do better insights, do better targeting, and obviously you drive the price up because it becomes more valuable. How does it kind of work? So the customer wants to have better service while maintaining the privacy of their data. So one thing, their personal data never leaves the telco core network. It doesn't go off your device. It's anonymized against an ID, Denvor MTN 12345. That ID is then associated with all of the lovely things that you do on and off the network, and that then creates the broader ecosystem against which we can build this beautiful solution to offer value back to brands and publishers and media buyers and agencies, because let's be honest, we all need to build a better ecosystem. And so for us, it's really, really interesting. As I said there, the consistent user-recorded enables all websites and apps usage data to be compiled as a single profile, and that's super powerful. It is that single profile. It's that single view of the customer that I think a lot of brands and agencies have been trying to get right over the last few years. And I think we are very close to getting it there. Very, very, very close. So, user recognition, again, what it is, just a little bit about how it works. Happy to share this presentation with whoever wants it. If we want to have a conversation about it, it's something that I'm really keen on engaging on. But effectively, underpinned by Poppy and privacy first principles, and I think this is the thing that kind of ties it up nicely and creates really, really good value. And ladies and gentlemen, that is me. Thank you so much for your time. Please let me know if you have any questions. Happy to have conversations. Bianca, yes. I can.
So with the sort of following user in the MTN network and sort of then creating a behavioral, creating a behavioral profile around this person, does the MTN user actually have the opportunity to opt out for you guys to not? Okay, cool.
Absolutely, yes.
And then if I were wanting to use the MTN audience, is it something that's like a scraped data that you guys can give me that I can use across another platform, or is it like rather more of a direct media buy, like to the audience?
No, so there's a couple of ways that we've done it, and one of the easiest way actually, which is we are busy running it right now as we speak, you let us know who you're looking for, we make it available through a DSP. We have DSP integrations. So you can literally say, I want to buy your audience using DB, and you can do that. You can literally say, I want to speak to this addressable audience at that scale in this location, as an example, and we can just make that available to you, push it out, and you just buy against it.
Denvor, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Maybe a couple, but I won't hog the microphone for too long. Let's say, I think a lot of businesses, particularly SMEs, maybe find it a bit intimidating to engage with big corporates such as MTN and running advertising spend. What would the minimum price bracket be for a small business in order to run an ad campaign to promote their products or services on the MTN network? Because you're talking some really big numbers and big scale, and like sometimes those big numbers and big scales, that's great for massive, large agencies who have hundreds of thousands or millions of rands budget to spend. But when it comes to the SME sector and independent business owners who primarily will use their credit card to run Facebook ads or Google ads, what would your advice or guidance be on the opportunity for a small business owner to actually engage with MTN's audience?
Perfect. So what we've done is we've actually in the process of launching a self-service portal. So effectively, you can actually prepay. You can say, look, my budget is, as a small business, I want to spend 1,000 Rand and I want to speak to the following people. You put the value in and we actually spit out, the engine spits out what your reach is going to be and exactly how you can actually engage with them. Load up your creative, run the campaign, because we know that it's fantastic, to your point, building it for the bigger organizations and the bigger brands. But the value really is in the guy that has a corner shop and wants to just speak to the people in his neighborhood, and having an effective way to do that. Outside of social media, there really isn't an effective way for small businesses to actually speak to the customers that live in and around their businesses. Now, this actually creates that opportunity. And the great thing, prepayment is always a fantastic thing. You control the spend, takes a lot of the admin out of the way. We're in the process of also finalizing invoicing. So basically you can get a VAT invoice off it, but it's a work in progress.
Okay. Any idea when that will go live?
So self-service is live at the end of this month.
Oh, ooh,
the actual
exciting.
portal
Okay.
is up and running already. We've done beta testing. Invoicing, I'm not sure exactly.
Okay.
A little bit more time, but yeah.
And what sort of rates do you have? Like, I mean, I'm speaking from like advertising background because it's space. So, but for other people in the audience, like the most common way to purchase inventory is either CPM, like cost per impression base, or click base.
Yeah.
How many clicks you're paying, or do you get to only pay? What is the buying model or buying model options that you have for businesses if they want to run a campaign on your platform?
CPM on the display advertising, but on the SMSs, and I know when people say SMSs, it's not sexy,
But it's effective.
it's super effective. And the one other thing we've just launched is something called the video SMS, which is really interesting. Why that is powerful is that we call it brand safe. So basically, when you get an SMS, it normally comes on quite a long number. So it's like a +2735, and it's quite a long number. Most people just ignore that. Or it comes from a network number. So it'll come from 082 or 083 number, or +2783 or something along those lines. What we've done now is we've created a brand safe message. So it actually says MTN Ads. So when you get it in your inbox tray in your native device, it actually says the brand that it comes from with the brand message and a video, which is really powerful because think of it as, and I always say this to people, the interesting thing when we run SMS campaigns, you have this beautiful long tail impact of marketing on SMS, because remember, it sits in your inbox until you physically go and delete it. It's not like seeing an ad or interacting with a brand on a platform where you might get a fantastic offer, but if you don't interact with it right there, you hope and pray that they retarget you so you can actually get the offer back. Because you might be interested like 2 days later, but at the moment when you're sitting at your desk, you saw it and you went, okay, and then you go past it. Beautiful thing with SMS is that it actually sits in your inbox, and now with video SMS, you can play a really nice and rich and engaging video, and I'll show you guys, we've done one for Disney Plus, The Lion King, and it's really amazing. Full HD, beautiful video content that gets paid by the network. So the customer doesn't pay for it with their own data, and that's really exciting. So the SMSs, you pay for the cost of an actual message, and you can work that very easily. And then the other media is CPM.
And like, how much are we looking at? Like, how much does it cost? Like, say I'm a small business owner and I want to run a test campaign and I want to do the $1,000. What is the CPM rate that I'm going to be paying? Like, what is the actual sort of audience reach and like results that I can
CPM
expect to get?
So display CPM ranges from about 40 to about 70 Rand CPM.
Okay.
And then SMSs are 13 cents a message.
13 cents.
For a standard SMS.
And how many people does that SMS reach?
Depends on your budget. So literally, if you're putting 1,000 Rand in, you go 1,000 divided by 13 cents, and that's how many people you'll reach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else have questions for Denvor MTN?
There's a
Not
question
one?
in
Okay,
front
there we
here.
go.
Thank you. So we're launching a product in Q4 where we want to target SMEs in sub-Saharan Africa with our product that allows them to effortlessly use AI in their business. Obviously you reach consumers, and MTN has massive lists of small businesses too. Is there a way to build campaigns where we can target small business through your platform?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we do every single day. So definitely something. Let's chat afterwards.
Okay. Cool.
We'll find each other for a coffee, and then let's have the conversation.